And her partner, coming out of the country, our friends to the north, out of Canada originally. Now she's got her green card. She lives down in Hermosa Beach, California, just a couple blocks away. Love meeting at Java Man to play a little Small World, maybe a little Settlers of Catan once or twice a week. We're gonna get you in on that, Scott. It's happening, Scott. Next time you have to be in. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, she is an Olympian out of Canada. She is an incredible indoor player, one of the best in the world, and she is a beast on the beach as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Miss Sarah Pavan. And their opponents coming in as the #2 seed in the tournament, just breezing through this tournament. 3 straight victories all the way through the winners or executive bracket, new name for the winners bracket. A fun team to watch, brand new on the AVP and the F5VB this year, and they are playing well to start their partnership all over the world and here in the USA. This first player, the youngster, went to Pepperdine University, ladies and gentlemen. She is from sunny Southern California, and she has got one of the sunniest smiles in the world. I think you're gonna like her. She is Summer Ross. And her partner from the other side of the United States, she lives down in Florida, and she is one of the best defenders in the world, and I do not exaggerate. She is all over the place behind the big block of Summer Ross. She represented the United States of America in Rio de Janeiro last year, and she's going to be looking to do the same thing in Tokyo in just a few years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Brooke Sweat.
As previously mentioned, live here from Issaquah, Washington, Pacific Northwest, the shores of Lake Sammamish. And stoked to be with you. My name is Rich Lamborn, my compatriot in the booth, Jeff Alzina. Thanks for being with us, bud. I'll be with you all day. Jeff's still got business to attend to, as his boys are also in the men's version of the semifinals coming up later today. We got a good one for you on the women's side this morning. Sarah Pavan and Skylar Caputo versus Summer Ross and Brooke Sweat. Jeff, what do you got for us, buddy?
Well, this looks like, on paper, it could be a great matchup. We've got 2 of the taller premier blockers in the game in Summer and Sarah, and 2 feisty little defenders that can swing in transition. And kind of 2 newly formed teams, but one that's got a little bit more experience on the AVP tour in Sweat and Ross.
A couple Olympians in Sarah Pavan and Brooke Sweat represented their respective countries in Rio last summer. Sarah coming from Canada, Brooke obviously for the United States.
Nice swing by Brooke in transition there. Off the easy read and dig, early lead.
First semifinal appearance for both Sarah Pavan and Skylar Caputo on the AVP anyways. Sarah Pavan, of course, tons of success on the World Tour. We're actually, after this tournament, headed to Porridge, Croatia, where she was a semi-finalist, a finalist a couple years back with Heather Bansley, her partner from the Olympics.
Looked like a palm block for Summer. You got to figure that Summer and Brooke's game plan is no matter what, serve the new kid on the block. They've given her every single ball. They're going to go at Skylar Caputo. Skylar's first main draw ever this weekend, and now first semifinal ever. A lot of credit to her just getting this far, but I'm sure obviously she wants to push through and see if she can make her first final and keep setting some records for the 19-year-old junior out of Pepperdine.
19 years old. She's gonna be a junior, right?
Yep.
Impressive to be all the way into the semifinals at such a precocious age.
Trailing 5-0 to start. She knows she's going to get served, but how is she going to get served? Will they serve her short? Will they serve her deep? Oftentimes, when you have a partner like Sarah Pavan, on the other side of the net, you need to serve it a little bit deeper to try and take away that on-2 option. Skylar's a good enough passer. If you give her something easy, she's probably got the goal of trying to put that ball up high into the center of the court and let Sarah swing on it. But they haven't been able to do that yet.
Yeah, Sarah is an incredibly prolific offensive player. She plays indoor during the offseason, been in China professionally the last couple years. She went to college at the University of Nebraska and won a national championship there.
Husker.
Led the Brazilian Super League in scoring a few years back, so she can put balls away. There we go. Kids on the board.
On the board with a little sneaky poke right off the left pinky of Summer Ross. We might get a nice replay here, yeah. We finally see our first cloud. Our first clouds have appeared today. I don't think there's been a cloud anywhere in the sky, anywhere on the horizon for the last 48 hours. These are kind of a welcome relief, actually. They're blocking the sun out a little bit on what's going to be a really, really hot day here today. It's supposed to be in the upper 90s.
Upper 90s right around finals time for both sides. You play the 10 o'clock match, Coach, or you play the 11 o'clock?
11. We have the second final, which is kind of good news in a way. We get to scout or I will scout our opponents in the other semi.
Yeah.
For a potential final matchup.
It should be plenty warm for your guys, though.
Yeah.
Nice little shot from Sarah there.
Yeah. No one call, swing down the middle, scooped up by Brooke. See if Summer gets an approach. Yeah, got off the net nicely and got a full swing on it. How about the left-handed stab by Skylar? Wow, we got some great reading going on defense in the rally of the game so far.
Nicely.
Brooke Sweat hits it just a bit outside.
Especially as those rallies extend and extend and extend, the transition setting becomes more and more and more important, right?
Good
because
point.
You have kind of less spring in your legs, and you really need it up there close if you hope to put it away.
Summer Ross, one of the premier hand setters on the tour and internationally, gives Brooke a nice little push out to the pin for the easy side out.
And that's really a big advantage for them, I think, against all the teams on the tour, is her ability to run kind of play sets like we just saw there.
Okay, Sarah has to hit that ball. I saw that yesterday. She got another really nice pass by Skylar, had the approach for the on-2, but just kind of off-speeds it into the block. So Brooke's got a second chance now off the handset to go high line over Sarah, and there's the swing. Another one-handed stab, this time by Summer, and a put away down the line from the left side. I'd really like to see Sarah come in and swing more on two. I mean, she's got a 3 or 4 inch height advantage over Summer Ross, and the element of surprise hitting the ball on the second contact.
And the lefty weirdness.
Yes. All lefties are weird, not Sarah. All lefties are weird for us to try and read as right-handers. There's another little off-speed ball again. Second one caught him off guard. I know she's got heat in her arm. I remember that arm all the way back in Nebraska, crushing balls.
Yeah.
Beach volleyball, sometimes we don't swing as hard as we can. We just try and place it a little bit more. But I like the players to come out and set the tone early with a little bit of oomph in their swing, right, so to speak.
Yeah, she's capable of doing something, you know, like on the men's side that Ryan Doherty's capable of, which is coming from a different trajectory than players are used to seeing. You know, when that ball comes from higher up than you're used to, it's falling at you at different angles, and sometimes it's a little more difficult to read. And she needs to take advantage of that as this set and this match progresses, I think.
Absolutely. They're trailing early here, 4-9. They've settled down a little bit. They gave up 5 in a row to start the game, but settled in a little bit here. 4-9. Another hand sit from Summer to Brooke, who takes a big swing down the line. Soft block covered by Ross. And put away by Ross for the 10-4 early switch.
As calm as can be on that cover. Summer never stressed, never worried.
Flatliner.
Flatliner, in a good way.
Yeah.
For her team.
Same way that Todd Rogers was, Karch Karai, Misty May. Pretty flatline emotionally speaking, right? Just trying to stay focused, stay calm.
Maybe the only difference, I think,
wow,
between
what a rundown.
those people is that it was boiling under the surface.
Yeah.
For Raji and Karchi. They managed to maintain a
hard to see the bubbles
exterior.
flowing underneath for Summer. She just looks calm all the way through her court.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. Really nice point by them to stretch the lead to 7 points now. And a tough short serve. Short serve looked like it was maybe forced onto, hit out of bounds. For early 12-4 lead, commanding performance so far by Brooke and Summer. Now a tough pass all the way out by the pin, and Summer seals that line really well, gets it with the right hand. 13-4.
Another difference to notice this morning is there's hardly a breath of wind out here on Stadium Court. We saw the far side being a good side to serve from. We saw a lot of teams, even if they were in a deficit, come back by being on the good side and kind of upping the service pressure. But there's not a breath of wind out here right now.
Nothing, no good side or bad side, just true equal volleyball right now. Sun's not bugging anybody. We've got a defensive juggernaut just tearing it up out here on center court with Ross and Sweat leading 14-5 early on.
Not altogether shocking, maybe. I remember when I was 19, if I would have been in a semifinal of anything, I would have been a little nervous.
Absolutely.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely. What's great is that the format here is 2 out of 3, obviously, and you know, if they tank this game for whatever reason or just can't find their bearings, they can basically start fresh and just win a set to 21 and then a quickie to 15 once they're emotionally tuned in and warmed up together.
That's right. You only have to win 2 sets, and even if they were to lose this first set, that still remains true. They still have 2 sets to win. Nice shot there on 2 from Sarah.
That's a different off-speed ball than the one I was disgruntled with earlier from Sarah. That's actually a true shot, clearing the block on purpose and aiming for a corner rather than just kind of the down ball style that I had seen earlier down the middle of the court. Technical timeout here at 15-6. They're coached by a longtime AVP pro and coach Scott Davenport. He's helping run the AVP academies nationwide. He's going to probably just talk to him a little bit about still settling down. Sometimes as a coach, Rich, do you go with the settle down thing and start there? Or I find that once in a while you can just refocus their energy to a certain task at hand and just put all their focus in that, and that kind of calms the nerves as well. Anything you use in these situations when you're trailing early by a lot?
I am a big proponent of worrying about what's going on your own side, kind of narrowing the focus, like you said, I think is an excellent way to accomplish that. If I'm kind of broadly focused on all these things I've got to do, I get a little bit of attention in a lot of areas and not enough attention on specific areas. So I really like that concept that you bring up about, hey, give me one task to focus all my attention on and kind of put the blinders on and let me do that.
Right.
And then I can move on. Once I accomplish that, then I can move on to the next thing and the next thing.
And that works really well if you've got a veteran on the court too. If one of the players is more experienced than the other, because they can be the one who, after, okay, maybe I just needed to come out and focus on just passing right now and getting a good route. Pass and get a good route. Okay, and maybe after 3 or 4 plays, they don't have any more timeouts. The veteran can step in and go, okay, now let me start listening to calls now. Make sure you focus in on the call or do this on defense. Brooke's doing a really nice job of navigating Pavan's huge block. She's had a couple self-covers and Summer's covered early.
Summer does a really nice job of taking the ball wide right and kind of curling it down the line. It looks like she can only hit angle, but she's got that nice wrist control to slap it down the line.
There's a really nice pass all the way from the sideline, lofted into the middle by Caputo. Goes with the short baby cut, picked up easily by Brooke Sweat, who goes baby line shot right back at her. Ross on the left, transition. There's the first really big stuff by Pavan. That might get them going a little bit.
Nice dive into the angle by Sarah.
Got well across the net.
At this point, you're trying to kind of generate some momentum for your team going into the next set, right?
Absolutely.
Nobody out here is ever going to give up on anything, but 16-8 is a pretty sizable lead.
Yeah. I would go for a couple tough serves or a couple tough swings and just get all the physicality out that I could. Summer Ross with her own version of the stuff down into the middle, uncovered by Caputo and Pavan, stretching the lead to 10 points, 18-8. I'd love to see them just swing really hard and really high. That's just kind of a little broad jump, low slap. They need to do something that establishes a little bit of like, okay, we're back, we're ready.
Big stuff again from Sarah.
There's two stuffs that'll help get that accomplished. They need something on offense here too.
Yeah, if I'm gonna make mistakes, I mean, everybody's gonna make mistakes, but I need to be making quote unquote aggressive mistakes. I can't get tentative, because if I have the mentality that I just need to keep it in or I just need to roll shot line, my mechanics tend to break down a lot, right?
Yeah, at 19-9, you're not trying to be careful or precise right now. You just kind of need to assert your manhood. Sorry for not having a better word than that, but just assert your presence on the court. That you're back. Trying to get a couple big swings here before the first set's over and take a little something out of your opponent.
Okay. The stand and hammer.
Stand and snap. They got it.
This that falls in the you can't teach height category right there. Good to be 6'5" and left-handed. And ridiculously athletic, of course.
Back set by Sweat. Swings angle. It's going to go down for a kill and bring us to our first set point, 20-10.
20-10, it is set point, set number 1.
Skylar with a nice high line into the deep corner. Brooke just lets that one go for now.
Yeah, that
was all they need without the freeze is just a side out play here, and game 1 is in the books.
They do have 9 set points.
Nice little back set for Summer, and tags the back line. Their little signature move, this jog off the court. I haven't seen too many other people doing that this weekend. They run off that court quickly and get in that box.
I like to see that enthusiasm. You know, it's a concept we talk about on our team. I'm sure you do as well. When things are going our way, we want to push the tempo. And when things aren't going our way, we want to do whatever we can, whether it's wipe the glasses, drag our feet, fix every little divot in the sand in order to slow that tempo down and try and slow the momentum of the team playing against us. And I like to see Brooke and Summer playing as well as they are, trying to push that tempo even into the break.
Last team I remember that did that consistently was Carrie and Misty.
Yeah.
They would always run to the box, get in there as quick as they could, get their rest maximized, and get the info from their coach maximized.
Yeah, I really like the time stretching technique you talked about yesterday with wipe my glasses, kick some sand, all that stuff, and then call a timeout if I'm going to do it, just to give myself that extra 20 or 30 seconds.
Which is a ton. That's half a timeout right there.
Yeah, there's all kinds of gamesmanship that goes on in every sport, of course, certainly in our sport out here on the beach. And that's a way that's well within the rules that we can try and gain some advantage, which is what we should always be doing as players and as coaches for that matter.
Absolutely. They use that same energy to run back out onto the court. They were the first ones ready to go. Summer's just bouncing that ball, waiting to serve it. They're hungry to keep this roll going. That was an amazing start by them. Maybe a little bit of nerves by the college player, Caputo. But I don't want to take anything away from Summer and Brooke. They played impeccable defense and had great blocking, great long rallies and digs. And they were just on fire, ready to start the semifinal. Here they are again, shoveling one back over. And a good little placed on 2 by Sarah Pavan.
Really nice job by Skylar to shovel that ball up to her partner there on a tough scramble dig. You know, going back to the time-saving thing, one of my favorite, I don't know, I actually did see it happen, and it was kind of this urban legend as well that, especially when Karchi was upset, if they had to call a timeout, he'd just stay in the serve-receive ready position the entire timeout.
Yes.
Fuming, right? That calm exterior, but you could see the breath coming out of the nose like he was a bull in the ring.
He absolutely psyched people out with that. It would be 110 degrees down on the court, and they'd have these massive long rallies after being out there for 20 straight minutes with no break. And someone would call timeout, and he would just go to the serve receive position up at the net. Hands on the knees, and I don't need a timeout. I don't need Shea. I think people would just freak out going, who is this guy? He's like a machine or something.
Yeah.
The Terminator standing out on the court.
Yeah.
Doesn't need water or shade.
We're seeing a little change in the tide here a little bit. Early lead for Pavan and Caputo, playing some nice defense.
It's just amazing how this happens so often in our sport, right? They couldn't get 3 in a row to save their life last game, no matter what, even when they. But as soon as the score reaches 0-0 again and you start, boom, here they come.
So
it happens all the time.
One of my players, Theo Brunner, has a theory that if two teams are evenly matched skill-wise, which we would consider everybody finals of a tournament, evenly matched, if you get beat, I think his threshold is around 12. If you get 12 or less, if you win 21-12,
oh yeah,
that team gets 12 or less, they're guaranteed almost to win the next set.
Right.
Because there's just some, I don't know, glitch in the matrix or something that you would win that significantly in any given set against a team that's equally matched with you.
And there has to be something about the resetting of the score too, because if you were just playing to 40,
right,
you might not make that comeback either. But when we start 0-0, it just tends to happen. That team that was down tends to push really, really hard and come out firing on that second set. Oh, can you get that? Oh, that's a tough run down on a couple nice touches by Skylar and Sarah. First switch, 4-3, Caputo and Pavan reasserting themselves, settling down nicely and starting off this second set with a 3-0 run. Sun's starting to peek out from the clouds. Again, Jeff Alzina, along with Rich Lamborn, will be calling this semifinal on center court for you. There's another semifinal going on at the same time on the outside. We'll see if we can get you some brief updates occasionally on that.
That semifinal is Betsy Flint, Kelly Larson
versus
against Jen Fatma, Kelly Reeves. First time semifinalists as a team.
Let's see if we can get some.
Pull up a score here.
Brooke is served on the right, running the push set again. Baby cut, touches the net. Really nice groveling dig by Skylar, who puts down a great free ball to the back line and scores clean on a free ball. Things are going their way now. Really good dig. You didn't see the ball hit the net there, but that ball hit the tape, and she had to kind of rebalance herself to keep that arm extended and get that really short dig. More of an up and down set now for Sweat instead of the push, and she goes short high line over the outstretched arms of Pavan.
Little score update from court number 3, the other women's semifinal. Betsy Flint, Kelly Larson taking set 1, 21-14, and leading 8-6 in set number 2 over Jen Fatma, Kelly Reeves.
Another smashing 21-14 in the first set. Skylar swings just a bit wide on that the attempt on the wrist away angle shot, maybe about 2 inches out. Nice pass, a high bump set. Maybe a little too high. She got underneath that. Sweat with the cross-body, almost cut shot from the right center of the court.
That was a fall-away teardrop.
That was a fall-away teardrop.
Great shot.
Steph Curry would be proud. They're working the short again. Pavan just goes high noodle over the top. Another little off-speed dart, tagging the back line. If she can do that, if she can purposely clear the block and get into the back third of the court, I think they're going to score a lot on too.
The thing I liked about that is she came in hard, ready to swing, and then pulled up when she saw the open court. One of the difficulties players have sometimes, since you can get away with shooting the ball, and it's wise to do so a lot of the time, is they come in soft. And that, as defenders get better and better, they recognize that, right? And if you can only shoot, if you set yourself up to where you can only shoot, you're going to get scooped a lot. But if you come in hard to where you have both options, you can put away some balls with.
And as we see right there, she decelerated.
Yeah.
Right. She got to the ball, decelerated, and dropped her arm a little bit, and ended up hitting it long. You've got to make that full committed double arm lift and bend at the hips and waist every single jump.
Thought there might have been a touch. There wasn't. Brooke and Summer out front now by 2. After the quick start from Sarah.
A 6-1 run. She's really, Caputo is really pushing this pass up tight for Pavan. Possibly too tight, I think. And they're going to go ahead and call a timeout after a 7-1 run from the first set winners of Ross and Sweat.
Good timeout, I think.
Yeah, got to stem that bleeding early before it gets more than a 3-point lead. You hate to burn that before the technical timeout sometimes, but I agree, that's a smart timeout.
You can't dig too deep of a hole when the other team won the first set. The only advantage, if we would call it that, is that if Brooke and Summer get to 20, the score will freeze.
Got a quick look at the outside court, and by Murphy's Law, they go straight to break as we kick out there. We do have a little score update, though. Yeah, Rich, we can tell you what our numbers are outside. That's a 12. Carson and Flynn really taking care of the veteran Fatma and her young Bruin partner, Kelly Reeves.
Good pedigree, that Kelly Reeves.
Yeah.
Mother Jeannie Reeves, an Olympian, silver medalist, if I'm not mistaken, and Father Mike Reeves, a track legend, ladies man at Oregon, and chef extraordinaire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the man can cook. And just great San Diego people, great family, great volley family.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers Connor and Jake. Jake played at UCLA recently.
Uh-huh.
Connor rages on the daily basis, I think, in the South Bay.
That ball is hit long by Caputo. One thing that I'm seeing right now, I don't know what this team's I don't know their game plan. I don't know what their normal set is, but it looks to me like the slow, high bump set is causing Skylar to get in early. Look how high that is, right? So she's a little bit underneath that ball. I don't think she's a court. I don't think she can tell if the block has pulled, because if we were able to slow-mo and watch her head, I think she's looking way up high at the sky right before she jumps to chase this high bump set. And that's a tough thing when you've got a Summer Ross who could be pulling and a world-class defender like Brooke Sweat pulling the back line. I'd love to see what would happen if they gave her a little lower tempo and let her come in hard and fast and see the court during her approach.
Where do you stand as a coach and as a collegiate women's coach, especially on width of starting point?
You know, I don't.
For the left-sider in particular.
We're going to have to get back to that, I think, after our break.
Okay.
We're going to run a little commercial and pay some bills for you guys here, and we'll talk a little bit about the approach when we come back. I'm Jeff Alzina along with Rich Lamborn.
I'm Trevor Crabb. My board shorts are some of the coolest board shorts that I've ever seen, and it's awesome that I get to kind of help create my own line. This year we got the new King Crab line that features a few unique shorts. Each has something to do with Hawaii, of course, where I'm from. So we got the pineapple crabs, the hibiscus crabs, the Hawaiian Islands, the tribal crab, and then we got my the signature king crab short with the crab in his crown on the waves. All of the Rocks volleyball shorts, including my line, all have the four-way stretch, and that's always been a favorite of mine. Not just playing volleyball, but surfing, doing all kinds of activities in them. It's really comfortable. It's perfect the way they're designed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And that was Trevor Crabb, one of the up-and-coming stars on this tour, made 3 finals last year, and one of the co-designers of some of that King Crab collection by Rocks Volleyball Sportswear. Really cool stuff.
Clearly standing behind his product, too, in that he said, my board shorts are some of my favorite board shorts.
Great dig by Brooke Sweat, who gets up and smashes one deep middle. extending the lead and the run to 8-1 right now. 13-9, Ross and Sweat, the experienced veterans, starting to pull away again, looking to close this match out in 2, Rich.
Yeah, we covered it a little bit yesterday, but she's really shown some renewed pop in her arm. That was a no approach, just hammer down the middle from Brooke.
Yeah. I love to see how disappointed Brooke is that she didn't get that, right?
Right.
She's so mad when she hit the ground and realized, God, if I could have just got around Summer, we had that.
You do get in that zone.
She's a feisty defender, yes. Relentless pursuer of the ball, no matter what. They serve her out to her sideline, gets the butter set again from Summer. I think they're serving too easy, right? There's just no, Brooke has passed absolutely perfectly on 90% of all these serves that are coming her way, and Summer is just given the perfect location set, moving it inside, outside, and creating a lot of problems for Pavan and Caputo.
Now, granted, there was a little bit more wind yesterday, but we saw Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays have a little bit of success kind of pacing Brooke's sideline with their serve, right?
Yeah.
Pinning her, forcing her to kind of stay wide in her approach. Yeah. I agree with you, however, that those balls right in her lap with a setter as good as Summer, she's going to be able to do anything she wants.
I mean, that's been the only knock you can try and have on a Brooke Sweat, why she might not be winning every tournament or something like that. She's got so many great skills, but she's smaller, right? And so when you can get her off the net or a bad set, you have a much smaller player than some of these other gals out here. But right now, she's just in system every time. Yeah. She's got a perfect pass, perfect set right on the net, and you give that to Brooke, she's going to make you pay for it. She's got a great arm and great vision and a great competitor. So
the pole digging control of Summer Ross is really off the charts.
It is. She's a natural. Great dig again by Brooke. It's a high perfect set in the middle of the court and chops back to the sideline again. They're on an absolute tear. I believe it was 6-3 at the start of this tear for Ross and Sweat. Trailing 6-3. Now leading 17-11. Looking like it's going to be a quick finish on our women's semifinal on center court.
And the Brunner hypothesis seems as though it's going to fall flat in this particular match.
There's a really nice transition set by Sarah. Dug again by Sweat, however.
I mean, everything going the way of Sweat and Ross right now.
Yeah, Brooke is really using the sidelines of the court really well. She started with a couple of cut shots early to her right, and now she's bringing everything back all the way over to the left and just abusing the cross-body swing right now.
So talk to me a little bit about that approach angle then for left-siders, because we saw a little bit of a difference there from Skylar as she kind of came into the court. I feel like when players get served right at them or when they get served even sometimes a little bit middle, they're in such a hurry to get wide. A great approach, and like you were talking about, when that set's a little bit higher, they end up staring at the sky rather than getting any kind of vision.
Oh, wow.
Back off the face.
Back off the face. A little bit. Maybe we get a net cam? Give us the net cam. Oh, yeah. That's a great press by Pavan. I'm going to guess that that was probably the furthest across the net she's been this match. I mean, she really dove into that swing, and that's what you got to do right now with Brooke hitting such sharp angles. And as far as their approach angles, I noticed that during the NCAA season this year with it, Skylar really likes to take more of a straight approach. Okay. A lot of players come a little more angularly and come into the inside of the court from outside in. She seems to do a little bit more like Todd Rogers, where you make the pass, slide in almost parallel behind the setter and come straight facing the net. But as you said, when the set's higher and you come in straight, you get caught under it a lot. Oh, nice read by Sarah. She's seen the wrist or the crossbody from Brooke enough. Either took a read or a guess and just dropped right into that crossbody shot that Brooke's been using. 14-18.
The pull game is such a big part of the women's game.
Huge.
Anymore. And so when you have the control on the pull of a Summer Ross, it's a huge advantage for your team. Sarah also.
Sarah pressing again, 15-18. And a quick timeout. They did not use the theory that we talked about. They chose to just run over to the sideline right away and get the fast timeout in. Another great press. You can see the hands in front of her face. You can see what I love by Sarah is her eyes watching the hitter. Her head was down, her chin was down, so she's looking at the hitter rather than necessarily at the ball or up at the guy.
I really like her timing a lot too. On the beach, you know, indoors you have to be on time with your block. You've got to be over the net when that ball's being popped.
Within milliseconds.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no doubt that somebody's swinging at the ball, so you've just got to be there all the time. With the shooting and swinging and the variety of offense on the beach, there's a little bit of a different approach as we take a look at the outer court here, see if we can get you a score update. But she's really doing a nice job, I think, delaying.
Absolutely.
It's a match point out there for Betsy and Kelly at 2014 in set 2. They are just kind of rolling in that other women's semifinal.
3 touchdowns to 2.
3 touchdowns to 2. And so I think Sarah, you know, maybe her height gives her a little bit of that advantage in that she's long. She can just throw her hands up if she feels she's late, but she's also doing a nice job of reading the hitter. And another stuffy.
Back-to-back attempts on 2 by Ross. I don't know why they're doing that. Brooke just sided out so well. She must have sided out 10 balls in a row at least.
That one looked like she might have been a little forced.
That one was a little forced. But Pavan taking care of both of them nicely. Oh, that's going to sting. You get a nice back-to-back stuffies and you serve it in the middle of the net. She's going to want that one back for sure. Instead, we've got Ross and Sweat moving to the lake side of the court facing the sun. 19-16 lead. Uh-oh, tight pass. Really tight pass, but Summer took the bait on the on-2 and couldn't recover to Skylar, the actual hitter. And they get away with a sloppy but effective side out.
And an excellent little thumb curl there from Sarah to lay that up in a hittable position.
Was.
Tight pass.
They mix things up and go to Summer. Interesting choice. They've scored twice in a row on Brooke.
That was interesting, but Sarah and Skylar are in striking distance, within striking distance here. They brought it back to just a 3-point deficit as the score freezes here on the match point for Brooke and Summer.
And they're definitely capable of siding out 7 or 8 times in a row themselves and getting on another scoring run. Just got to get this first one. Brooke hitting right on it, gets a swing for the match on the first attempt. Stuffed down by a renewed blocking Pavan. That's 3 out of the last 4 plays. Pavan's got a stuff block straight down, uncoverable. That's got to breathe a little bit of life into her young partner, right? Some confidence.
Timely surge from the veteran.
Another new style serve, I guess, kind of short middle. Got Summer on her knees, but she came up with a great little poke jumbo to get a shot at second match point here in our women's semifinal, AVP Seattle. They serve Caputo deep. She snaps it down the middle, covered nicely by Brooke again, and goes to the crossbody, which worked so well all match, and that will close it out for us, Rich.
Yep.
21-11, 21-17. Summer Ross and Brooke Sweat into the finals here at the AVP Seattle at Lake Sammamish.
Really nice performance by them. A well-fought battle as well from Skylar and Sarah. Congratulations to both of them for their first semifinal on the AVP, and we'll look forward to seeing many more to come from them.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Tremendous finish.